Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Listen, as we move forward to this big conscription day, things are happening in Europe, slowly moving forwards. And I did a few videos like over the weekend, and people were saying, "Oh, but Sean, it's not compulsory. Oh, but Sean, but they're saying this. Oh, but Sean, but they're saying this." Listen, stop, apply your safety catch, and listen in. This is how things start. These things get passed through government, and they say, "Oh, we're just gonna introduce, some sort of military training for all men." But don't worry, it's not compulsory. You don't need to worry, it's not compulsory. And then after a couple of months of that program being running, then it starts to look very compulsory. So I'm going to stick to facts here, ladies and gentlemen. And when I give you speculation, I'll let you guys know it is speculation. But the news from Poland, and I am a couple of days late on this, but the news from Poland is the Polish are announcing military training for every male in that country. We have got people in the United Kingdom coming out and saying, well, it's not on the cards right now, but it might be in the future. And then we've got Donald Trump coming out and saying that, things in Ukraine are a lot worse than people are being told. Now we'll come on to all of that and more. But ladies and gentlemen, before we get onto the video, can you do me a real big favor before we start and hit those buttons down below, the like, the subscribe, and the bell notification, so you guys know when I'm doing another video. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get straight into it then. So from an article here from the BBC, and I'll read off this article and then I'll speculate what's happening, what I believe is happening behind the scenes. Obviously all these links in the description all these links I will put in the description below. So Poland announces military training plan for all men. Work is underway to make all men in Poland undergo military training, Prime Minister Donald Tusk said. He sounds very suspiciously like Donald Trump. Donald Tusk, Donald Trump. I mean, how many more Donald? What are we going to get next? Donald Turn, Donald Tumbuckle? I don't know. In a speech to the Polish Parliament, Tusk said the government aimed to give full details in the coming months. Effort is being made to prepare large-scale military training for every adult male in Poland, he said. Now, what I've been talking about on this channel, and please, put it in the comments when I've said it before, the way that the European military is set up right now, it cannot defeat the Russian military. It just can't do it. The analogy I've given this analogy many, many times, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine your two best football teams. Sorry, don't imagine that. Imagine your one best football team. The best football players the world has ever produced. Just visualize them now. They're all on the pitch. They're ready to wait. They're ready. They're ready to have a game of football. The best 11 players that the world has ever produced. Any timeline, any country, whatever. You visualize them. The players that come out to play them at a game of football, you have 1,000 players. Some of them have never played football. Some of them are wearing shorts and t-shirts. Some of them are wearing jeans and t-shirts. Some of them have got shoes. Some of them have got work boots. Which one has got the best players? Well, the 11, because they're the best football team that's ever been on the planet. Who's going to win the game? Well, the 1,000, because there's 1,000 of them. And this is what we need to start to visualize in the West. We don't have the mass, we don't have the numbers to defeat the Russians as it stands right now. Not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. And when I'm saying this from someone with over, I started my career in 99, so this year I'll have 26 years experience working in this sphere. So Tusk said the Ukrainian army has 800,000 soldiers, whilst Russia has around 1.3 million, and he wants to increase the size of the Polish army, including reservists, to 500,000 from around 200,000 now. Again, when we're talking about the increase in military size, strength, and capacity, you've got to understand here that the Russian military have one chain of command, whereas the Europeans are going to have so many different chains of command, so many different behind-the-scenes political scheming. It's going to be the command and control is going to be very difficult. Language barriers, political barriers, military barriers, interoperability barriers. All these things are going to add to the decreasing capacity of NATO. So while on paper it looks very good, we're kind of looking now like a comparison between, an engineer that's just left university and an engineer that has been doing the job for 20 years, doing the job since 2014, and they're working on cars, they're repairing cars, they're doing it day in, day out. Which one of those is going to be more efficient at repairing cars? It's a simple question. So that's kind of the situation in Poland. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, these things come out initially, as a, we're gonna offer this to everyone, every man who wants this. And then it's gonna go to every man who doesn't want this has to have this. Remember, it all comes down to mass. It all comes down to numbers. And I've said this many, many times, ladies and gentlemen. While NATO do have a better trained army with better kit and equipment, they don't have enough of them. Now, an article that I'll share with you here, ladies and gentlemen, from the United Kingdom, which is also about, not conscription. Can we call it conscription? I guess we can now. So, where are we? The UK has no plans for conscription, but future decisions will respond to new realities, says Minister. The UK needs to recognise the world has changed and Europe has set up in terms of its own defence, warns Cabinet Minister. So the article here, guys, all right, the United Kingdom is not considering introducing I forgot how to talk, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday morning. Give me a break. The UK is not considering introducing conscription to ready the country for a potential war. But now, ladies and gentlemen, listen, a very wise man once told me, if you use the word but in a sentence, what you've said previously, you don't believe. Just keep that in your own lives. But decisions may be needed in the future to respond to the new reality that we are now living in, ministers told Sky News. So I'll just put this in the description, guys. I don't want to dwell on it, but what I do want to say is, as we're moving forwards, Poland is going to, this is going to happen in Poland. They're going to start mass training of soldiers. And remember, this is not going to be a mass training of highly trained soldiers. This is going to be a very basic training of how to train not conscripts. That's the wrong word to use. How to mass train soldiers and then how to use them in a different manner that you would normally use highly trained infantry. Now, I've already told you guys that I've got a friend that you may have finished it now. I did a video maybe a month back, or I think certainly last month. I did a video and I said, I've got a friend whose son is going through the infantry training center in the United Kingdom. And he's told me now that the whole infantry training, it's been restructured now. That has been restructured to facilitate mass training of, mass training of soldiers. The way it used to happen, the way I did my training when I joined the military in 1999, I joined a platoon that all wanted to go to the parachute regiment. All my instructors were were serving parachute regiment. A lot of those instructors had been to the Falklands. So that was how you keep that, you keep that potency of that unit. Now, what they're doing now, as I understand it, is they're doing blanket training now for everyone. Everyone does the first couple of weeks themselves. Please, if I'm slightly wrong, ladies and gentlemen, and somebody has inner knowledge of this, put it in the comments. Whereby now everybody turns up, they all do a similar training by anyone, and then they go to their respective units for continuation training. Now, that is what you would do if you wanted to mass train soldiers, because then it kind of doesn't matter where you go. You're getting that initial standardization of training. Now, another article comes out from Donald Trump in the last couple of hours. I think this is only a couple of hours old. Donald Trump says Ukraine may not survive the war against Russia even if US support continues. Listen, this is all feeding into this rhetoric that I've been telling you guys for the longest time. The United Kingdom needs to lead this conflict, and they need to lead the rest of Europe in Ukraine. They need boots on the ground, otherwise they're going to fall. It doesn't matter now how much support the United States give them. They can give them 1 million rocket launchers and all the latest kit and equipment. Who's going to use it? there's nobody left to use this equipment. The Ukrainians need more men. The West need more men. And every day, week, month that goes by, the Russians gain strength. They gain capacity in their military-industrial complex. They gain capacity in their drone fabrication. They build capacity in their knowledge, how they work together as a team, how they get their stuff from point X at the factory to point Y at the front line. And that is, and fighting a long, protracted war with a high attrition rate, that is key. Ladies and gentlemen, how many times have I said that I believe the world is heading into a global conflict on an industrial scale? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the crux of the video. Mass training of men in Poland. That's not conscription. The British ministers are saying, we're not considering conscription, but remember, if you use the word but in a sentence, what you've said previously is a lie. And Donald Trump is now confirming what I've been saying. The way the Europeans are set up at the moment, the way the Ukrainians are at the moment, they cannot hold the Russians back. The long and short answer is, ladies and gentlemen, they need more men. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to back to grid. I'll get you guys another video later.